Karma Kast.
Happy holidays from the family for Karma Cast.
Oh my gosh.
Who's in the family Karma Cast? You and you and you. It's us like going to the audience and just pointing at everyone.
Oh my gosh, just everyone.
Oh, I would love that. Oh my gosh.
Christmas is right around the corner. If you're celebrating, happy Hanukkah to those
Happy
who are
Hanukkah, happy
celebrating.
Kwanzaa, happy holidays, happy
everything.
on holidays, happy at all.
Happy solstice. We're recording on the solstice.
Oh my gosh, is the 21st the solstice?
It is.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That means today is the darkest day of the year.
Today's just like kind of a depressing day in Boulder.
We're just gonna go up from here, baby. Yeah,
it is.
Of course, we've had our first winter fire of the season, which luckily it was not near where Deanna lives, thankfully, but it was near where we're living, and we had an evacuation warning, which was really annoying because it's like they're not telling you to leave, but they're like, you should be ready to leave.
Like,
and it's like
grab your birth certificate.
Oh my God. Like, I don't even know. I think my birth certificate, who knows where the fuck that is. But yeah, like, then you start to think about like, what are the things I really need? Like, what are the things that you would take with you? I know you've packed a bag.
Yeah,
before.
we pack. So we have a folder with like passports.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, birth certificates, my computer, and then my animals and my dogs. Yeah. Oh,
it's
and
really
I packed like
that...
I was running down my street. This is kind of, I don't know if this is good or not. When we were evacuating, I had my bottle of Xanax and I was like, does anyone need some? And everyone looked at me like, I don't know. Like, I guess I'm like, spread the wealth. You know what I mean? And I feel like people looked at me like I was unwell. And I was like, I feel like I'm the most well right now. I just took one and I'm offering them out because people were panicking, you know?
Oh, no. I mean, yeah, I think that oftentimes people hear the word Xanax. I think in like pop culture, like it's like, I'm gonna pop a Xanax. Like it's kind of like,
and I'm not a pill popper, but I definitely have, you know, from my own PTSD, which I won't get into. I definitely have a subscription. I want a subscription. Give me a prescription and a subscription. I'll fill out the little postcard. You know, the one that falls out of like the magazine?
Yes.
Yeah,
a subscription
filling it
Xanax.
out. But like, you know, I take it once in a while and I definitely take it.
No, it's like a real drug that people use
Oh my gosh, I take it when I fly. I told you my flying is I take one, listen to Lemonade and just go off to like La La Land.
Yeah, no, I mean... Yeah, I think some people see it more as like a recreational drug than like actually people need it sometimes to calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
So...
And I want to preface, I also wasn't driving out. Like my partner drove. But, you know, the thing that I did not like is I was on my Xanax and Andrew goes, well, I just kind of feel like videoing. And so, you know, should we stay back for a little bit? And I was like, no.
You're like, no, now's the time. I'm ready to go now.
The
other thing that's happening in Boulder is we're going to have like the coldest temperatures in like, I don't even know how long, but like literally they're canceling daycare. Like school's already off for the holiday, but like things are closing because it's going to be so effing cold here. Like I think the high is like -1 or something. So that's what we're dealing with here. We hope you all are happy and healthy.
I just wish it was like there was snow, you know?
I know. In all the years I've lived in Boulder since I've returned after growing up here, so like 6 years, I've never had a white Christmas. There is something a little magical about that, right?
Yeah. I feel like the only time I've had it is in New York.
Yeah, where it's like reliably
cold,
more snowy
and humid. And I mean, it sounds magical. And then,
And
12
then you're
hours
like-
later, the brown snow.
the
Brown snow just stays until March. And then
the worst is when it snows like on the 23rd. And then it's
Yeah.
like disgusting by the 25th.
yeah, and then there's always that thing where you're going to work and you just are like you're okay, it's cold, but you step in that puddle.
Oh, and then
you're like,
your
I can't
foot
go
is
home.
soaked for the
I can't
rest
go
of the
home
day.
right now. And so you just gotta have to soldier on and
And in New York, you always want to look like not totally junky, like, and a lot of times, like, I mean, there's cute snow boots now. There are, but like sometimes it doesn't work with your outfit. You have to plan your whole outfit around your footwear,
yeah.
which is it's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah. I just like I always had the duck boots. You know the duck
Yes.
boots, L Bean duck boots. Those were my winter.
But did you find? I feel like those things. My feet freeze in those things.
Oh yeah. Oh, I was definitely not.
It's not,
I was 100% not like toasty.
But your feet were dry.
My feet were dry,
Yes.
and I wore a lot more, which is interesting. I wore so many tights. Like I was ready
I wore
to
tights
brave.
all the time.
I was so much ready to brave, and I think we do pretty well in Colorado braving stuff. But it's not.
Oh yeah.
It's not as cold as there. I mean, there was just so fucking biting. Like,
Yeah.
you just kind of get used to that biting feeling, of just
Where
like, okay,
it's like in your bones type
Yeah.
situation.
yeah, and that's why you, I don't know. I was used to it, and you were used to it, and
yeah, and
you
now
just
I'm
kind of
never
accepted
going back.
it. Now I just want to like move to Palm Springs.
I know,
I'm
I'm like,
like, I need
how
to
do I
wake up
get
and see a palm
warmer?
tree. Yes, I am like constantly thinking of how do we up the warm.
Oh my gosh. Can we plan our next trip to Palm Springs, please?
Oh my gosh, Palm Springs. You know how magical is Palm Springs?
How magical. So magical.
A recommendation. I've been starting to watch the Trixie Motel show on HBO.
Oh.
And it's
I haven't
Trixie
even heard of
Motel
that.
she's from Drag Race, and
Okay.
she opens a motel with her husband.
Okay.
Her partner, David, and it's about them remodeling this historic hotel in Palm Springs. And
that sounds
it's really
like my
fun.
jam.
And I don't have HGTV or any of those things. I have HBO thanks to Cousin Mary gave me her. So shout out to Cousin Mary.
Shout out.
Yeah, we exchanged passwords. She has something of mine and I have her HBO, and like Orville Peck's in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he helps remodel a room because they have a celebrity come, and there's 7 rooms and a celebrity helps out with each room. And can I just say, Orville Peck is so hot.
Oh, really?
I Googled pictures. Yeah, I was like, oh, what does he look like underneath that mask? And he's
Right.
really, really hot.
So, okay, I'm just going to Google this really fast.
And like to our listeners, if you're kind of a fan of kind of slow country music,
are there ever pictures of him without this mask?
there's like 2. There's like 2 pictures online.
Maybe I need to watch Trixie's Motel. or
Yeah,
Hotel
watch
to
it.
see
And
him.
He has very confident hot guy energy too in it. And he's
Oh,
in the
yeah.
Shania Twain documentary that I told you about.
Oh, he's in that too. Okay.
Yeah. So
I watched. So speaking of HGTV, just before we get into the episode, I just have to say, if you need something light and you like HGTV, and I know
I'm
Chip and
listening.
Joanna Gaines are like kind of cringe at this point for a lot of
Okay.
people, including myself. Like they're I don't know how much you know, Deanna, but they're like the fixer-upper people.
I see their faces at Target, and
Yeah,
that's
Magnolia.
one of those things where it's like you're at a hotel for me, and it's just like then they scream vacation
yes,
to me. Does
yes.
that make sense?
Which is a good feeling,
That's
right?
fine. I associate them with, but then I heard their church.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure I disagree with like everything that
Yeah.
they stand for in terms of like political and social issues. But I do just love watching them redo a house. It doesn't get
Yeah.
more relaxing for me than that.
Do you know what's something
And-
I always think about with them when I see them? I want to
Yeah.
see their fight behind closed doors.
Exactly. Like,
Do you think about, like,
know
I
that
wanna
I
see-
think about that all the time. I'm
I
like,
see,
there is
like,
darkness there.
I feel like there's annoyance, and I know it's like, oh, that's so
Oh, yeah.
cute. Like she gets annoyed with him because
Oh, no,
it's
she's
like this,
actually
like,
mad.
gender role thing that like,
Yeah.
oh, it's cute because like the wife always gets annoyed with the husband because he has all these ideas, and I'm like, oh, I want to see how they communicate off camera.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought this up.
Thank you.
So I think Chip is actually like a monster.
Wow. This is like some Tom. Like, is it Tom Sandoval? Which is the one? I always get him confused.
I see him being a totally like misogynistic. Maybe
like,
Tom Schwartz.
Yeah, Tom Schwartz. Do you think he like throws his fist down on the table? And he's like, Joanna?
Yeah. No, I think it's probably a little bit more insidious than that. I think he's probably
like a Ralph gaslighting.
Like,
been really obsessed with Ralph lately.
The absent husband, maybe.
Like looking at pornography?
I mean, I don't know.
Everyone looks at pornography.
Yeah,
I'm not,
say,
it's like, who cares? Like, okay. But I feel like they give the vibes off that they don't watch. Like he doesn't watch pornography. And it's like, yes.
Oh, no, he absolutely does.
Okay.
Joe's level of needing to control things.
Like Joe.
I think is
Joe
really
Gorga?
real. No, Joanne.
Okay, I was like, yes, Joe
Gaines.
Gorga. Okay.
I think that is a very real thing with her, and I think it's...
Wait, so she's controlling?
She's very controlling.
Okay.
And I think she's very... I mean, look at her line... If you look at the way she designs things, and like even her Hearth and Hand Magnolia line and just everything, it's all very controlled. And like, I think that is probably... This is totally just me mouthing off, but like...
No, go.
I think it's an attempt for her to just have something stable in her life.
Wow.
I think like she really holds that whole situation together. I could see those two actually like literally living in separate parts of their house behind the scenes.
I salute them. Do you think someone's thrown
not because it's a healthy thing to do. It's because they need to have the facade that they're a happy family, but they secretly hate each other behind the scenes.
I just think like it's not abnormal, because that's not the right word.
Yeah.
I would never want to work with Andrew. We would get a divorce in a second. Like our relationship, I don't think would last. And I think it's kudos if you can do that and spend all that time together. Could you imagine doing an appearance? Like, I would just like imagine wanting to kill Patrick, and then you have to do an appearance for a book signing to like how to like fucking like put together like some stupid farm door bullshit.
Yeah.
I would just like, I really feel like I would be in my own hell. And the fact that she can do that is incredible.
I think here's the thing. These people are making millions of dollars.
That's true. You could pay me enough. Actually, that's true. And you give me my Xanax and
that's what I'm saying. It's like we live in separate sides of our modern farmhouse and raise our 5 kids with all the help that we need, and we're fine. Because we have all the money we could ever need and want in life. That's what I think is going on. I mean, also, I just feel like, I don't know. Anyway, that said, like, however I feel about them as people or whatever, I love their content. And they have an HBO special called Fixer Upper.
They have an HBO
The Castle.
They have a castle.
And it's like a 6-episode series where they fix up this like old home that like kind of looks like a castle.
Where is this?
And they try to like make it look like an older like period home, which is kind of different from the aesthetic they usually do.
I like it.
So I kind of like, Patrick and I just finished it, and I swear it's like when turning that show on lately has just felt like eating like a delicious dessert or something. Just like everything I need. So if you need something,
where is the castle?
It's in Waco, which is where they do all of their stuff. That's where they live. And it looks like it's actually in a really shitty part of Waco, and like I wouldn't want to live there, but they did a really great job with the castle house. It looks.
Are they going to live in it?
No, they're going to sell it.
So they just like they bought
it
and
then flip houses. Like,
that's all they do.
Thing. Yeah, they're flippers.
Oh, I don't know why I thought they remodeled for other people. Maybe that's just maybe they have like tens of thousands of shows.
I mean, I think that is so on Fixer Upper. They do remodel people's homes for them.
Okay.
I mean, obviously they get something out of it from the network and probably like,
Sure.
I don't know how, but I think they got into that show because they flipped houses previously to that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, I think that's like their resume that got them into Fixer Upper, and now they've just taken over the world from there. Like,
yeah. And
they're
kudos.
so popular. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't realize how popular, like, I don't know. Like, I guess it always surprises me, like how popular, like when I get my nails done, the Food Network's on, and it's like it's all these worlds, you know, like we're going into Harry Potter world. We're going into Bravo world, because it's like, obviously what we talk about on this podcast is Bravo, you know, Bravo celebrities. And it's like, you know, you and I would know if Austin walked down the street, you know. But like, you know, Andrew would, because he's watched band, but other people. And I feel like there's like these people on HGTV or like the Food Network where it's like, if I saw them, you know, walking down the street, I might not know who they are.
Yeah, no, totally.
Because they're so huge in their own element.
I am an HGTV and Food Network person, and I've been watching more of it lately. Like in the middle of the night, I turn it on.
Oh, I bet that's so comforting.
When I'm breastfeeding, because it's so light and easy, and like. But I prefer HGTV. I just love watching houses. Like any of
Is that the one with the Property Brothers?
I don't like Property Brothers. I have to say I never understood that.
They were on Trixie. One of them was on Trixie Mattel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they go to the Brady Bunch house.
I watched one of theirs recently because that's what was on at 3 a.m.
Okay.
And
I want to know those two fighting behind closed doors. You know, their community. I bet they're so rich. Maybe they don't care anymore. But like, I don't know. I'd be.
Care.
Yeah, they're just, and then one of them's like Zoe, what's her name?
Zoe Deschanel, yeah. Zoe, yeah.
Zoe,
I
and
say
she's also
Zoe because it's spelled with 2 O's.
Right.
Speaking of, okay, let's get into this episode. Speaking of,
actually, I have
real estate though.
Oh, so I did the math.
On the 23 million?
Yeah, I did. I have it. I'm going to pull it up. So it says,
how
so
much
it's a
of
20
a commission do they
so
get?
I did like 28 million times 3%, which is 840,000 on that deal. If they're getting 3%.
Wow. And if they're splitting it even?
Are they splitting it? Or was she just, I was like, is this whose property?
I wonder how the breakdown is at the Parvani group, you know?
Yeah.
No matter what it is, he's walking out with 6 figures from that deal.
Yes, 100%. And then, you know, you tax it, but yeah. But like, it's interesting because it's
that's
like
one deal.
I love the Parvani group. Can I just say, is the group just the two of them? Because it's like you walk into that office and there's the secretary or the assistant, and then there's 2 desks.
I know. I mean, I think it is. I'm sure they have some other people who work with them.
Okay.
But yeah, like, isn't it wild to think about doing deals like that?
Oh, just like, I know it takes a lot of time and effort, but basically you have someone sign a paper and you're like, I just made $840K.
Oh my God.
And that's why I'm like also fascinated with like Lopa. Like, okay, so Lopa's apartment is like, I am obsessed with that apartment, the condo.
It looks
like I'm obsessed.
Oh my God. The balcony,
and I
whole
saw
deal.
Yeah, I saw a pink spoon that they were eating with, and I think it was like a 32 flavors spoon. And someone can like be like, no, you know how you pick up something and you're like, wait, I've seen a pink plastic spoon.
Yeah. No,
and shout out to 32 flavors. We don't have them here, but do we?
This is a thing I see a lot though. Is like really, really rich people not eating with like real spoons and like real utensils or like plates.
Well, it's the whole thing with the Kardashians. Did you hear about their salads? Did you hear about the salad thing that they used to do?
Me.
So they used to always, I forget if it was my hairstylist, shout out to Sarah.
Yeah.
Or cousin Mary said that they used to have these salads, and they maybe still do, but it was a thing where you get these salads in these plastic things, and they'd order them.
Mix it.
And you'd mix it by shaking it, and they'd be eating them with like, they'd be eating like basically a to-go salad. with a plastic spoon in their like multi-million-dollar plastic fork.
I'm telling you, it's a rich person thing. I don't know what it is.
I was like really pondering this pink spoon, and if someone wants to send us a picture, because I was like, maybe it's because like
you know what it is? It's the convenience.
That's
it's
what I'm
like,
saying. I'm saying like so Lopa Auntie went out for Baskin Robbins and was like, you know what? I have an extra spoon. I'm not here full time. I'm going to leave this here. You know, like how many of us, we get the extra chopsticks when we get sushi and we're like, we're just going to put it like, you know, in the silverware drawer with the silverware. Yeah. And then we get it out like, you know, at that one time we need
get it out when we're being filmed by Bravo, you know, no problem.
Shout out to the Baskin Robbins.
Oh my
God. Let's talk about that apartment. That apartment. Okay. If you and I stayed there for the weekend, and I'm not inviting us, but like the view.
When we go to Miami,
I want
to see that apartment.
I want to see the view, and I have so many questions about that get together.
Okay, so
should we start from the beginning?
Let's start from the beginning, and I also just want to put it out there. I've been getting DMs, and I'm wondering as well if Sean and Pooja are still together.
You want well, put a pin in that, and you know, okay, so we're seeing, is it Kolpna Auntie?
Yes.
We're seeing her left, right, up, down, north, south.
She's all over.
She's all over, like, you know, like all over our show. And so I want to hear about that because and she's in the show and they're not in the show.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, so why do you know? What do their Instagrams look like?
I don't know anything, but someone DM'd me, I want to say like a month ago at this point, and they're like, people come to us in the DMs because they think we know everything, and
you know what they say? Know. Meet us here, and they come by with a hoodie, and there's a mask over their face, and then they just slide us.
We gotta know.
Then they just leave the note, and then they're off.
So they're like, "Do you know what's up with Sean and Pooja?" Like,
were you like, what?
Seen them posting each other in a while, and I was like, huh. And I was like, you know, I recall Pooja saying that like she wanted to like keep her social media presence low profile because she's a lawyer and like she doesn't want to put all her shit out there, which is totally understandable. So then I noticed that like when I was tagging people in a post, like the Family Karma people, her name like came up as something that I could choose, and it was grayed out. Like I'm not allowed to tag her. Which corroborates the like she doesn't want to be on social media, whatever.
Yeah.
But like so in September, Sean was posting all of these like throwback videos and pictures from their wedding.
Yeah, I remember that.
Pooja put up like one or two as well. So I was like, oh, all's good with them, right? They're not.
Yeah.
But since then, Pooja has maybe posted one photo of herself, and Sean has not posted anything with her, but he's been posting quite a bit. It looks like he's been out and about, and he's just been on a vacation with his family to Puerto Rico, I think, and
she's not
no
there.
Sign of Pooja anywhere, which is a little weird to go on a vacation and not bring your wife.
I mean, she has a proper job too.
True, maybe because he's also in real estate, so he has a more flexible lawyer? Schedule.
Oh, yeah. So he's and she, I mean, maybe she had court.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, then I had like 3 or 4 other people DM me the same question. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but like enough people have asked me about this at this point, and something feels a little bit off. I don't know. It would be super tragic because they just got married in May.
And I think it's very interesting when a couple's been together for a really long time or an extended period of time.
Yeah.
And after they get the year after they get married I'm not saying they're separated. Apart. It just falls apart.
Yeah, it happens. It happens does. A lot, actually. So anyway, if anyone knows anything that they are willing to share with us, and maybe like they don't want this out there or whatever.
Sure.
I don't know, but there has been speculation, and so I'm just going to say that. But okay, so into the episode, we start with the end of the bachelor party where they go to this place for dinner. And
wait, before they went to the strip club.
The strip club was last episode. No, they do show a little bit of it where like
They showed the okay, yeah.
Nicholas is like, I'm taking tequila shots off of people's abs.
Yes, and I love this. I love that.
But they go to dinner. I love how Amit's like, typically gays don't eat.
I know.
But we're having one big dinner. So they go and, Vishal says he's not going to drink and Rich is like, has to leave. And she's like, I'm a little worried about it because I'm not going to be there. But it seems like he doesn't drink. He has like a watermelon non-tequila
right. And
margarita.
shout out, like, it was fairly impressive how she didn't lecture him before she left. It wasn't those sit down. It was like, you're left to your own devices.
Yeah.
Sorry. And just Godspeed, basically. Like kind of trusting him.
Yeah, I mean, because and
he's gonna do what he's gonna do, whether she lectures him or not.
Exactly. And as we've said many times, it's going to be a long journey, right? So then Bali was definitely she was talking to Avni about like Brian and like kind of shaded her for just like drinking some random drink. She's like,
I wrote that down. I was like, and I've done that. Listen, I have been a couple cocktails in and just kind of grabbed something.
Yeah.
But COVID times, it's tough. It's tough watching drink.
Like, you've been taught nothing or something like that. I think Bali may not be Avni's biggest fan based on what we've seen. She seemed a little kind of cranky, I feel like, in
Bali or Avni?
Yeah, Bali did.
Yeah. Oh, she's going through so much.
She is. I would be cranky too. And
I would be like crying into my drink. I mean, just because like that's the way I would be dealing with my stress or my stress, or I'd just be drunk, like yelling at someone.
Exactly.
And so the fact that she's just kind of a little reserved, I want to like say hats off to you, Bali.
Absolutely. Bali, yes. Love that. So then Avni's like, I don't really see it going anywhere. And
we're like, obviously, stop.
Obviously.
Like, let's stop. Like I wrote, if we can be totally frank, I was like, can we just fucking stop?
But then they do.
Line?
They stop it. Like she talks to Brian.
Thank God.
And it's over.
I was like,
Brian was so funny though. She's like, I don't want to hurt you. He's like, I don't get hurt. And then she's like, I don't want to lead you on. He's like, I thought I was leading you on. I'm like, Brian, what's really going on here?
I know. It felt like the defenses came up a little bit.
But also,
I think they were just like, let's just stop playing this storyline. It's going nowhere. I think
Brian knew, like, I don't want to date you long term. Can we just hook up for a while? But she was just like, no, let's just end it. And that's all good. Let's
bring her on and like see who she's dating and stuff. Like this is what I'm talking about. Let's like get her authentic self.
She's like in her late 30s.
Let's do
ready
this.
For a family.
I feel like Anisha kind of had that role, and we have like kind of an open spot where we can go on someone else's dating, because no one's single.
No, that's true.
Well, Monica might be.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking
TBD. I have a lot. We just need to kind of piece this together.
Let's just get into all of the scenes with Monica and Rishi, starting with this one where it starts with like the whole group talking with Rishi and Monica about what's going on.
Right.
And Bali's like, I'm bored with this. Like, can we just move on? And Rishi's like...
And shout out to Bali for being the producer.
Yes, Bali.
So we saw Bali put on the producer hat and said, okay, we're ready to move on. We're ready to move on from this storyline. And shout out to her. Pay her a little extra bump. You know what I mean?
Yes.
She gets the bonus of the episode because she wore a couple different hats. She moved the Brian thing along. She's moving storylines.
She's doing the most. She is doing the most. So... Did you notice how Rishi was kind of like speaking for both of them to the group a little?
100 and even to the family. And I can only speak for myself. That wouldn't work for me.
Yeah, he was kind of like, we're rock solid. Monica knows there's no truth to that. Monica's standing right there. And I'm like, Monica can speak for herself, I understand.
And maybe it is to play devil's advocate. Maybe she's so emotionally tired. She was maybe like,
yes, yeah.
Can you just like speak up for the both of us? Because I'm so fucking over it.
Yeah.
But you and I are like, that was just devil's advocate. That's not where I am. That's not where you are.
Yeah. I'm like, let the woman speak.
We're just like, and it was hard because like we're talking about both events, right? The in front of the group of friends and in front of the family one was tough.
No, that one, but then also this little conversation they have at the bar, just them. Monica brings up, which we've all been wondering. She's like, I'm upset about Nirja. Like, what's really upsetting me is like why you're not bringing her up and all
like
of this.
We said, the call is literally coming from inside the house.
It is, and this is,
and no one wants to recognize that
thing. And she said, Monica draws a line. She says,
and what's her name again? The woman,
Nirja.
Okay, so which is like I will say again, which is so ironic that she bleeps out the picture. Of her in the picture, and she seems and I think she's gorgeous and such an Instagram presence, but like she is out there in the social media world.
30,000 followers on Instagram last time I checked. Like she's
and
not not in the public eye.
Does that make sense? Like the duality of that?
Well, I think probably it's one, maybe she wanted to get paid. And
good for her. Yes, girl. Cash that check.
Or it could be that this actually did create quite a bit of drama within the family and she doesn't want to be kind of accountable for that. Which I'm sort of wondering if that's what it is. But Monica's like, I'm not going to speak to her anymore or like break bread with her.
I love the breaking bread. When she said the break bread thing, I was like, that's perfect.
But like, think about that. That's Rishi's younger brother's girlfriend, potentially like partner for a long time. Like that's tough, right? And so
and I'm upset. Okay, can I just say I'm upset if Bravo didn't give her a paycheck because we've seen every Tom fucking Dick and Harry
oh my god
roll up to all these other fucking shows. Like every like sea troll comes out for Jersey out of like the fucking ocean covered in seaweed to that Bravo. You know what I mean? Like they'll have people rolling out from the Vanderpump underneath the bar covered in like old lemons, you know what I mean? And dry vodka, and they'll pay.
We don't know what happened.
Okay.
Right?
But I'm just saying, if they didn't give her a check, that makes me upset because they're throwing money left and right at like, these side characters in the Bravo world.
I want to know from someone who's a producer, please DM us, like, what are the reasons that someone's face would be blurred out in a Bravo show?
Like they're not signing the release?
Like there's not the release. Is it money? Is it like what are the different things that could cause that to happen? Because I'm not clear on that.
And it is kind of shady to show the picture of like like the family and then just her, she's blurred out. It's like I see again, I love Bravo producers. I love Bravo producers.
So, and then Monica says, I'm not comfortable moving in anymore.
And we have to talk about the family brushing it.
Okay.
And when someone tells me to move on, when someone tells you to move on and you're feeling your feelings, I'm going to make a general statement, and obviously everything is individual, but like that's the way like I was operated on when I was younger. Not operated on, but operated from.
Yeah.
And raised with. And I am very much not about that.
Well,
feel the feelings, talk things out, like recognize if someone's saying, I am fucking hurt.
Well, yeah. I mean, and she wasn't even saying that. She's like, I think we should be able to talk about this.
Yes.
And the dad's like, just move on. And the mom's like, oh, relationships are hard. Like, it's over now.
This is not. Yeah, this is not relationships are hard material, in my opinion.
Like, I think what Monica wanted to say, which she wasn't totally saying, was like, can we talk about like the elephant in the room, which is that Nirja is spreading this rumor. And it's like within like you said, it's within our house. It's within the family. Like, what is going on here? Like, I feel totally betrayed by someone who's supposedly like close to me, or
basically
like,
kind of a future sister-in-law per se
in my family system. Yeah. And like, so when they go outside and they're talking about it, I mean,
and the biggest
Monica's
shade was like,
yeah,
she's like a second, just to add, she's like a second mother to me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was like, they're not even recognizing and supporting you, and you're labeling them as such. Sorry.
And
so they go outside.
She says, I don't feel like supported. And it's like, yeah, absolutely.
I know.
And Rishi's like, oh, we just want to be private about this. Like he says there's all these other people in the room, which I think he's talking about, like they're filming, right? But it's like, Monica's like, that's not good enough. Like, I need to,
I know.
like, this is our relationship. Like, we need to talk about this. And Rishi, for the first time in all of this, kind of gets a little bit amped up a little. And he says, what else do you want? And that to me was like, it wasn't a like, I understand that this hurts you, and like, what are some things that we can do to like help you feel better in this moment, blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, what else do you want?
And the ironic thing is Rishi and Brian were talking about how he's going to propose on her birthday.
He did not seem interested.
And it was like, it just feels like a little bit of, it seems like pinball a little bit.
Yeah.
When you're like going like this and the ball's kind of like like it's bumping here and it's bumping there. And it's like all of a sudden we're like, he's like, okay, I'm going to like propose. And then like kind of not snapping at her, but it's just like trying to brush something under the rug and like just continuing on without recognizing. And I feel like feel like it's all over the place a little bit. This is what happens when we've talked about on this podcast, where you want to go from A to getting married. But you don't want to go to point A to point B to point C to point D.
Yes.
Because you're just trying to look at this bigger picture without looking, because it is like one of, the magic guy.
Yeah.
I've never been able to do it, but it's like, okay, we need to see the magic guy and pull away from the picture so we can see the complete picture.
The whole thing. Yeah.
Without seeing like the different colors and elements and stuff like that. And that's when it's not going to be like relationships tend to not be successful, because you're not dealing with the garbage that's just thrown around. Because it's like, say like if he gets another DM or something happens or she gets wind, it's like, this is all just going to come back in waves.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. I think
I just went on a whole thing. It's just like, I feel for her so much, because she's like, let's pick up the garbage and put it into the trash can so we can move on and build a life.
Yeah. Well, yes. And I think that, I don't think the move is, I need a commitment. We need to get engaged right away.
Yes. But I think he's kind of jumping, being like, yeah, we're going to get engaged and this is just going to move forward. Let's not recognize it. Am I seeing it wrong?
No. I totally see what you're saying. And this is like,
I could be seeing it wrong. I could be totally seeing it wrong.
I've said this a lot of times on the podcast in different ways. Like, for those of you who may not know, like, I'm in a long-term relationship, but I'm not married. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But I think one of them is like, I've become disillusioned with like the way pop culture in our society handles like the dream for women to get married and engaged.
Preach,
like, this
keep
is
going.
Our life goal is to do this. And I think there's a little bit of that on both sides of that relationship of like, well, this is the goal. And if we get there, then everything else is just like you said, just like in the trash can. We don't have to consider it anymore. When it's like a real relationship is like what Rishi's mom was saying is true. Like, there's always going to be hurdles that you need to like work through.
Of course, 100, and we support that.
That's true. Yeah, but it's like they need to work through that hurdle, and they're like brushing it under the rug. And like Monica, I think, is trying to work through it a little bit.
If I was Monica, I would turn in a little. I don't want to say psycho because that's bad, but I would like break into his phone.
Oh.
No, and I'm not trying to be funny, but like, okay, so I like
show
Andrew
me
knows
what's going on. Yeah,
Andrew knows. Before we moved out of New York City, I went through his whole computer.
Oh my god!
Again, I grew up if you knew my trauma of growing up, maybe Cousin Mary goes, this makes sense.
You told him.
Oh yeah, I went on like I've said, I went on every vacation with him and his ex-girlfriends, went through every photo, went through a couple emails, you know?
Wow.
It's like, we just got married. And I was like, I just need to, but I'm saying I have it in me. If I got wind and I was Monica, I would be like trying to figure out how to break into his Instagram. Like I would be,
like, she says I have all his passwords.
Girl. Okay.
Maybe
Indra.
later in the season we find out she does go through it.
Is that, I know I sound like unwell, but like this is just who I am. Like I was the one, I'm gonna read your journal if you kept it out, you know?
No, totally.
Like I texted you last night, it's like I hate gossip and I love gossip. If I was friends with Giselle on Potomac, I would be Karen, like tell me more.
I would be eating that shit up.
You and I, imagine you and I across from Giselle, we would be like, yes.
Oh my God.
And
like,
more.
Tell me more, like eating the chips, just like
and that's why we kind of watch these shows, because they are soap operas. You know, we're seeing kind of people tell on each other and gossip.
Oh my God. Okay, speaking of this auntie drama is real.
Okay, so here's the deal. I appreciate, there's, at least in our Twitter feed, there is a lot of anti-Lopa stuff.
Yeah.
And it warms my heart that Lopa's very complicated. We've said like it's very complicated. And I wrote in my notes that I wish she wouldn't go so hard on Vishal, and that he had to be the butt. Like when he was like, the way he says ma and like stuff like that, or mom.
Yeah.
But it warms my heart that a lone wolf that wants to be a part of the pack, that doesn't make me feel good. What makes me feel good is when you see the lone wolf joining the pack and the wolves are all running together. That warms my heart. And when I saw Lopa auntie hanging out, eating like the Baskin Robbins spoon, like everything, you know what I mean? It's like we gotta not want our women to fail on Bravo, and we talk about this thing a lot of just like I'm so glad she's included now. How do you feel?
I absolutely agree, and you can see that it's so important to her.
She's coming alive a little bit, you know?
Yeah, she was laughing. She was so happy, and like, Lopa auntie, very, very like complicated situation. She does not have the most graceful delivery, I think.
No, but I think a lot of us raise our hands and we say same. You know what I mean? No. I'll say same. Like I don't have a graceful delivery. So it's like I understand.
And I think like one thing I noticed too is like she doesn't know how to take or give compliments very easily.
Wow. Okay, go on. My eyes are open. Keep going.
So like when Reshma auntie invites them over for that dinner,
and she looks phenomenal. We keep saying she looks incredible. Yes. Yeah.
And Reshma auntie says, "You look beautiful," and Lopa doesn't know what to say. She can't even say thank you. She's like, "Oh, well, it's just what I had to wear," you know, like, and then like,
we love you, Lopa auntie.
We see her not being able to like compliment Reshma on her hair and things like that. Like there's something about that social grace that she's just like not really attuned to, and that's just who she is, you know? And I think that's something we like prize so much in our society is
what? Say that. Keep going.
Is like, oh, I'm going to tell you look great. And you tell me I look great. And it's all about how we look and things. And like Lopa auntie's not here for that, you know? Like that doesn't hold currency with her.
Yeah.
But it does with other people. And so that makes her a bit of an outsider as well, I think, in some ways.
Interesting, yes.
But like, you know, we've talked about it before. She's had a difficult life. Like she's had a lot of things working against her and a difficult family life, like all sorts of things. So it did warm my heart to see her hanging out with these women, having 100%. Them over to her home, like having a good time. But what was shocking to me was like, so she says like, you know, Reshma auntie said something kind of rude to me. Like I wanted to go dance with the people. And she was like, oh no, you'll ruin it.
Wait, so I was I didn't hear that, but I was taken back. So thank you for giving the detail of like, she wasn't hanging out with Vishal's parents at all at the wedding. that Reshma auntie was kind of like ignoring her and they didn't hang out at all. I'm not saying they need to be like Bert and Ernie and Sesame.
Reshma auntie was ignoring Dharma auntie.
Oh,
Brian's mom.
I thought Dharma auntie was like, yeah, she ignored me too, to Lopa auntie.
Okay, so here's what happens. So then Lopa auntie says that, like, you know, Reshma said something to me about like not dancing with the guys or whatever. And then Dharma auntie's like, you know what? It's your family and whatever, but I just have to say that I think Reshma auntie, I think she said she's fake and
How did I miss this?
A non-emotional woman. I put the clip up on our Instagram. She so she really like, I mean, that's like pretty harsh words, right?
Yes.
But she says that because Dharma auntie said that at the wedding, at Vishal's wedding, Reshma auntie just totally ignored her, like didn't even say hi to her or whatever. And like, then we find out later that then Reshma auntie kind of answers. She's like, well, you know, when we had that lunch with Lopa auntie, like Dharma auntie was trying to give me advice. And I was kind of like, did I even ask you for advice? And then she cuts her off because she was mad at her. And I'm like, this is an interesting thing that we've seen a couple times from Reshma auntie at this point, where she cuts people out. Well,
she doesn't want to hear what she doesn't want to hear.
Yeah.
She's
preaching all this, like, I like eye contact and these are the ways that we work through things and whatever. And it's like, but that
I love that. I have to say, when she was talking to Vishal, I was like, my heart was like, it was soaring the way she talked to him about it.
So that,
like, feeling emotions and being emotional, not being scared to be emotional.
Okay, I'm very interested in hearing you say that, and I wanted to ask you because I know that you are like right now even studying like addiction counseling and how we talk to each other and things like this. So I got that sense. I also felt, and I don't know if you noticed this, I felt like she was cutting him off.
Oh, yes. Keep going.
Like he was trying to say some things about how he was feeling. And I noticed her cut him off at least once or twice and kind of be like, this is what you need. And he was trying to just explain. Let's be honest.
This is her. It appears from the little we've seen of their relationships. This is what we've now my gears are going. Yes. And this is what we've seen.
Yeah.
And I don't want to call it hand holding because I feel like part of the tagline of like what Vishal is with these women in his life, with Richa, with his mom, with Lopa, is he's it's like an infantile, stage of like, he needs to be told like he can't drink, he needs to be, handheld a little bit, and it's just like, it does play into that, right?
Well, I think he's in a stage now where I think he's trying to claim a little bit more of his own like self-worth and
like have some agency over.
Exactly. And I think he was trying to say to his mom, like he was literally trying to be like, I'm trying to figure out like why I feel the need to drink in social situations. And he was like, well, I think I know what it is. And he was like going to try and say it. And Reshma auntie just cuts him off and is like,
oh my gosh,
you need AA, you need therapy, we need to talk through these things, blah, 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 which are all good things.
Well, I think I was just seeing what I wanted to see. And so thank you for pointing that out. Yes, I can see it now.
Actually, maybe I was just seeing that. I would love our listeners to chime in on that and let us know like what you think, what you saw, because all I was noticing, the thing I was focused on was how I felt she wasn't really listening to him, and he was in this very vulnerable moment.
His eyes were red. He looked like he was going to cry.
His mom, I have a drinking problem. Like, this is a huge conversation, and I think she said a lot of really nice supportive things to him, but I'm just wondering if she really listened to him.
Okay, yes.
So, I'm not trying to like villainize Reshma auntie here
No.
And I do think that like some of the words that were spoken about her were kind of harsh. And actually, Bali and Amrit took to Twitter to respond, to say like, Bali was like, if anyone spoke about my mom like that, like, you know, I don't know what I would do. And Amrit was like, I'm the same. Like, there's a line drawn in the sand in this group in this auntie drama. You can tell there are the people who like Lopa and the people don't like but defend Lopa. And the people who defend Reshma auntie. I think the Reshma auntie side is gonna be Vishal, obviously, because it's his mom. Bali, Amrit. And then I think on the other side of that debate of either questioning Reshma or being on Lopa's side is like the rest of the group, like Brian and some other people. That's the sense I'm getting.
I think it's really interesting because I was noticing the intro, like with the music and the pictures flashing.
Yeah.
If you look, it looks like the majority of them are aunties. And so that's what I like appreciate is like we're really getting into, like you like to say, the minutia of these complicated relationships of women of a certain age. And it's not just like, oh, these are their kids. It's like, oh, their kids are familial too. Like they have such ties that are deeper than this show. Yeah. And the thing I've always loved about Bravo is like Bravo highlights complicated women.
Yeah. And these are some of the most complicated women.
And
their stories, just where they come from and how they got to where they are now, it's so different from so many other stories.
And we have these women that, you know, have come to America, who are women of color, who have had to who have their own businesses, who have had to,
$23 million deals.
Perform a certain way. And it's like, and then if you act too much like this, you're a hardened bitch. You know what I mean? Yes. And whereas we have these people like, you know, who's the one? Craig, you know, on not Vanderpump, but like Winter House and
Southern Charm.
I was going to say Southern Hospitality, where he gets to act like a doofus and not be labeled so many.
Exactly.
You know, so many negative like words. And
you know what's so interesting about that too is like Reshma and Lopa auntie are pretty similar.
Wow,
in a lot of ways.
When you were going to say that, I was thinking the same thing. When you started that, I was like, yeah, they are. Yeah.
Like these are two women who are like boss bitches in their fields, you know? Like Lopa auntie's killing it. Like in her, I can't remember exactly what she does, but Reshma auntie's like making multi-million dollar deals in real estate. Like these women are like power women in their fields.
100%.
And so what was it on Potomac recently when Mia and Wendy fought and someone was like, when two
At
women who are used to always being right and leaders start to
Good
fight.
Call.
That's like, it reminded me of that, of like Lopa auntie and Reshma auntie are both used to being like the top of their game, maybe the only women in their arenas of where they work, so really having to defend themselves extra in that role. And so when you put those two personalities together, like it's just gonna, you would think maybe they'd see a little bit of each other in each other, but it's like the opposite effect or something.
Yeah,
you know?
It literally is like in Alice in Wonderland. We're seeing like the Red Queen and what's the White Queen. You know what I mean? We're seeing the two queens come together, and they're in. I remember in Alice Through the Looking Glass, they don't get along. You know, because it's like they're the. And we see this, you know, I've never seen House of Dragons or Game of Thrones, but I'm assuming that we have this in a Game of Thrones situation, you know?
And it is a special thing with women, I think, unfortunately. I think it's part of the patriarchal system we live in 100%. Is to pin women against one another when they are winning.
And we do look at other franchises, and you and I have talked a lot about that, is like Lisa Vanderpump was at the top, and she was going to do whatever it took to
stay there.
She took Brandy under her wing. You know what I mean? And then she took Kyle, not so much, but yes, Kyle, you know, little sister energy.
Yeah.
And the second she got pushed off the top,
Yeah.
Where she was just like, I'm done. Because
she's
it's like
I'm destroying this relationship.
Yeah,
now.
because I even hear about, like, she's on the Trixie Mattel show too. She comes in. Yeah, she's in the first episode. But when I think of like
to watch
I know.
this show.
When I think of, I was thinking about Lisa, and I'm sorry I'm going off on a tangent, but I was like thinking about Lisa's relationships, and I do believe she has like adult relationships, of course.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen her bring it into Vanderpump or whatever, but she does have these like Lance Bass, you know, of NSYNC, of like, this is my gay friend, and you know, I get to be the token like boss bitch, like I hate using that word, but like restaurateur.
I hate
you
that
know
I
what
said
I mean?
It earlier too.
Yeah, but we'll just use it because we're just too brain fried with the holidays to think of something else. And like the same thing I was seeing with kind of Trixie, you know, is like, she's like, oh, I'm like Lisa Vanderpump. I get to come in here and be like, oh, do you know how much it takes to like, and then she lists off, she's like, I've done 32 restaurants and and owned all this stuff. And it's like, she got to be the expertise, and that's where she shines. And that's why like we saw a different side of Lisa as the tallest poppy on Vanderpump, because it's like, that's how she wants to see herself, is like the Godfather, you know what I mean? Yeah. And we have these two Godfather situations, you know, and
these two women,
they're you know, it's like it's gonna bump heads.
Absolutely. And I think so. I mean, I think what happened on this episode is complicated. Like I was so interested, actually. I put a poll up on Instagram to ask people what they thought of what Dharma Auntie said, saying she's fake and non-emotional about Reshma. And I asked, like, do you agree with Dharma Auntie? Most people said yes, but almost an equal amount of people said no. And then a lot of people said they weren't sure. And I saw some of the names who said yes and unsure.
Did they have blue checks
by they're cast members, family members. I'm not going to reveal anything.
Obviously.
But,
I think it's hard because I feel like when you say a woman is fake, people's inclination is to say yes. You know what I mean? I feel like just because we get the weight, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because like we're talking about, you know, women get labeled bitches, and if you're tough, and it's like, oh, she's so fake. You know what I mean? And it's like used more connected to, I feel like, women versus like
I've never
Brad
heard
Pitt.
a man ever be called fake.
Brad Pitt
never
saying
in my
he's
life.
fake. Remember we were talking about with the Brad and Angelina stuff, and it's like, Angelina's so fake. And then we found out that Brad like fucking like kind of beat up her and her kids in the plane.
Oh my God, don't even get me started on
Do you know what I mean?
Being impervious to any
and
bad
now
press.
He's romping around with a 29-year-old.
And everyone
you know?
is loving it, and they've forgiven him completely.
Tom Cruise.
I know.
Tom Cruise in Scientology.
Always get a free pass. It's so true. And it's just like, I think that's a really good point. It's like,
I'm just saying that's one point. I'm not saying if I believe it or not, but I'm just saying it's just so hard to be a woman, and especially like these women on Bravo, they're breaking boundaries for the complications that they're showing, but in the same sense, like the audience, like we always say, it throws down the gauntlet on these women.
Yes.
It's like you show a little bit of vulnerability or this side of you, and the audience is just so quick to be like, well, she's just a fucking bitch.
Yeah. Oh, yes. It's so easy.
Or like, she's fucking fake.
Yeah. And you notice how in our language we have a very specific word.
Thank you, Indra.
For women.
Keep going.
That puts them down in a very certain way. We don't have the same word for men.
No.
And
calling someone a C word is considered worse than calling someone a dick.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so that it's just something to pay attention to. What did you think about at the parents' dinner when they were all at Reshma Auntie's house, the Parvanis? Like the conversation around Vishal's drinking and like the not getting married yet and all.
Oh my God, Lopa
stuff.
Auntie's reaction.
I could you believe she didn't know? I was surprised that she didn't know.
And I want to say is like Lopa Auntie has been with Richa when Richa is at her wit's end. They seem like they have a really close relationship, and so. I just want to say, of course, she's going to be protective of her daughter because she's seen their worst moments through her daughter's lens.
Yes, 100%.
But her eyes lit up. Like,
it was. Well,
I see both sides. I think it's interesting. Vishal said something that I could see is like, she's holding this over my head.
Yeah. And Richa said, no, I'm not. But it's like, maybe you are a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, to me, I feel like it's more, it's not just about the drinking. Like, there's maybe some like larger things in their relationship that they're still working through.
Yeah.
Like, I think that they've probably signed the marriage certificate at this point. I'm not like
100%. And why don't we have them on together, Watch What Happens Live, you know?
It's like, I feel like that's all, you know, whatever. Like, Richa's wants and needs in this situation, though, I think it's like, it's not so simple as she wants him to stop drinking and then she'll sign the marriage license. Like, she has other concerns and things too. And I do feel like what she said at the dinner about, like, she said to everyone, she's like, we've all been working so hard for Vishal to be healthy. And this is like crumbling. Like, this is coming all down from this. And I think that she like really wanted to like have some people who have been there close to them to talk about it, when Vishal was like, don't talk about this stuff with our parents, which is like, they need to know, because like, we're in this as a family. And this is where I wanted your perspective from the addiction like counseling perspective, is like, is it important for the whole family to like really kind of be on the same page when supporting someone who's like entering their journey to recovery?
I think like it's so hard to make blatant statements about people should do this and this and this. You know what I mean? Because it's like addiction. So everyone's story is so particular. I would hate to be like, well, everyone should do this. You know, that's like being like, everyone should do like blah, blah, blah. But I do think it's interesting because like, just like understanding like the South Asian community and the family.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's very Italian too. It's like, you spend so much time around each other, but there are things that like Italians just don't talk about.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like with my own family, you bring stuff up and it's like, they just want to brush it under the rug, you know? And so it was.
And that's what we were seeing at Rishi's house. What we were seeing at Rishi's house. It's
a lot of keeping up appearances and stuff like that. And, but I think I'll just talk from a mother. I would want to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Right?
You know, I would want to know just because it's like, you know, it's like he hasn't hit rock bottom. And again, I don't know. Maybe he consider he has.
Yeah.
And to prevent, like, to help support before you hit rock bottom, because it's like maybe you make a bad decision and you get in a car, like you and your wife know about it, and it's like, oh, and then he made this bad decision. It was like life-threatening. You know what I mean? Or whether it's getting in a car, I'm not saying they're driving drunk or doing all these things.
No, yeah. Just
or he's in the hospital because of like Crohn's disease and alcohol, you know? And it's like, well, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
And that being said, I think it's like, it could have been a discussion before, you know, but I think it's enlightening, and I like seeing the emotions come out and where the conversation goes. You know what I mean? And Rich is in pain. And Vishal's in pain.
They both are. And I did feel like everyone at that table was being supportive. Even Lopant, even though her delivery can be a little harsh sometimes, she was listening to Vishal, and she said, so what are you doing to change? Like, are you trying to change around drinking? And he was like, yeah. And this is like in social situations, particularly, I'm trying to figure this out. And he says, like, I did feel really supported at the end of that dinner, like, and relieved. And so that was like really nice to see, I thought. And
and I think it there's like, we've talked about the stigmatization, you know, there's a stigma around addiction, and when you talk about it with like people, it kind of like the stigma is no longer like as weighted, you know, it's not so much of a stigma. And going through something like that alone, I believe like it takes a community to go through something like that. I believe it just takes a community to get through life, but like with something that's serious,
you need support from the people you love. And it's not like you're like not around any alcohol, like especially on a reality show where drama is on Bravo. And speaking of, I saw that Ashley is going out with someone from Winter House. Luke.
Who is he? Is he like a long time
Summer House.
How long has he been on the
he's-
show?
He's been on Summer House for like 3 or 4 seasons.
Wow. Is he a good
like
guy?
the lumberjack man from Minnesota.
And he goes to
who-
the Hamptons?
He's gotten like named hottest man on Bravo
What?
like several times. Like he's a very good looking guy. His
Oh my
personality
God.
is a little wanting, I think.
Oh, okay. Is it a little dim?
A little dim. No, he's not dim. He's a little like he's very pretentious and doesn't realize
He knows
it.
how hot he is.
Well, it's not even just that. It's like he's always like trying to be like, oh, I love to do all these things. I'm like an artist and blah blah blah. And it's like, stop taking yourself so seriously. That's what it
Does
is.
he live
Stop
in
taking
Does he live in
yourself
like
so
Brooklyn
seriously.
and makes furniture kind of shit?
Yes, exactly.
Are you serious?
He lives in Brooklyn. He lives in New York somewhere, and I think he makes jewelry. He's a jack of all
Shut up.
trades. He's a jack of all trades.
He's a Renaissance man.
He's a Renaissance man, and he's hot. And Ashley is hot.
That's the thing. After
And-
that, like Lord of the Rings troll, like we need.
Okay, so my baby is waking up, so I
Okay,
need to
so
go
let's-
soon. But let's see, what else is there? Okay, the designer who sees Amrita
I
Nicholas.
love this. More of this. I want to see every stage. So were they picking out
27
pieces-
outfits.
I know. And then it's like, so are you picking out thread used in the fabric and they're going to
You're
create the
picking out
fabric?
fabric,
That is
threads.
wild.
They make it for you custom sizes.
See, this is why,
is how you
like-
get Indian clothes.
Like this is like something we've never seen on Bravo. Like fuck all these like rich women
Gucci,
like doing
yeah,
couture
whatever,
and
yeah.
like whatever. It's like we're literally seeing the couture house.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The nuts and bolts of the couture house.
And can I tell you how much I loved Nicholas's PowerPoint presentation?
Yes. Have him like he should be an organizer.
He should. Oh my gosh. Like it was amazing. I loved it. What else is there? Brian goes on a date with a woman and he's like, I love ASMR videos. And she's like, my 6-year-old nephew does too. And he's like, I got to move out. So he's looking for places. Okay, there was also the second auntie dinner with Reshma auntie and Chitra and Lavina auntie. And
that's the TBD or to be continued, TBC.
But we did see them all get together, and Reshma was like, what is it? Lavina says like, they bring up the thing about Dharma auntie feeling slighted at the wedding.
Right.
And Lavina auntie's like, are you going to meet with her? And she's like, I don't know. And so she's kind of ignoring her, which kind of goes back to this whole thing around like cutting people off when you don't want to deal with them a little bit. And then, but we see in the next time that like Lavina auntie is going to feel uncomfortable like talking about it and everything. Because like Reshma auntie and Lavina auntie are friends and their sons are best friends.
Well, and that's the thing is I'm like, why is she leaving? Like, how does it all go to her leaving?
Well, I feel like Reshma auntie wasn't there and maybe she's the only one speaking for her or like speaking up for her. And she feels like, but it's like, don't come after Lavina auntie.
No, we need candles.
Woman.
We need like these saint candles with her.
Oh my
on
gosh.
them.
Absolutely.
Like her holding Theo.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Put
can
that,
I get that on
put that
a
on my
coffee
desk.
mug that I can drink my coffee out of every
Seriously,
morning?
it's like talk about like peace and like having like some sort of like just like calming the central nervous system as you like take a sip out of that.
Oh my god, 100%.
That's why I'm like, why are they coming after her out of all the fucking people? That was seriously my feeling at the end. I was like, I'm not saying any of them deserve it, but I'm like, she is like. Is like holy. You know what I mean? Like she's like a saint if there ever was one.
Yes. Okay, baby is crying.
Okay, let's wrap this up.
Let's wrap this up. Everyone, next episode of Family Karma is January 1st, so we will have a recap after that.
Is it really on January 1st?
It is. So it's a week from Sunday. We won't have
take
a
care of
podcast
yourself.
next week.
Self-care.
Yes.
Be kind.
Best wishes
Be kind
to all
yourself.
of you. Be kind to yourself.
Just be
as
really
we
kind.
Enter the new year.
And you're not the only one struggling. I know I sound really negative, but just like you're not the only one struggling. Like the holidays are hard.
You know who needs to hear that? Me.
Indra, I'm here. I'm ready to put one of those, the coffee cans and just throw it over and be like at night, just talking to it with the string with you. Yeah, I'm here for whatever you need. If you need me to come over.
Yes. So
I hear babies all.
Baby.
You tell me when.
I will. And for anyone out there who may also be having a
DM the Instagram. Tell us what the fuck you're doing. For the holidays. If it's something South Asian, how about we'll post it? Like tag us in your holiday photos. If you're just a fucking Family Karma Cast fan, tag us. We'll put it in our stories, right? We'll highlight fun stuff you're doing, not so fun stuff you've made, whatever.
Totally.
Is that fair?
And now is the time on social media to push for more episodes and a fucking reunion for this show. So please tag Bravo, make some noise. We'll be doing it on our page.
Tag us and Bravo.
Repost our things in your stories.
I hear
whatever
babe,
you need
it's
to
all.
do. Okay, we gotta go.
Okay, namaste.
Love you all.
Namaste bitches.